In the meantime, though, let's take you to the Ministry of Information, where currently government is briefing the public on the strides made in the Operation Halt anti-galamsey campaign. Kojo Opon-Kroma, Information Minister, is addressing us now.
In fact, the Chief of Defense Intelligence, Director of the Armed Forces Public Relations, and all senior officers present here, the Chief Director, Minister of Defense, and friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I am once again here to interact and, of course, brief you on government's relentless effort and commitment to weed out illegal miners and equipment from the country's forest reserves as well as our water bodies. And on behalf of the government, I wish to thank all of you for the support, in fact, enormous support that you have helped us in carrying our messages across Ghana and to the world, particularly to those who are devastating our natural resources. I want to thank you all for that. But this brief today, as already has been told, it covers the participating troops, it covers agencies involved in the last operation, the equipment seized, and of course, those that were destroyed during the operations, as well as the observations and assessments that we made during the operations. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, following the successful conduct of the third phase of Operation Halt, which was on the River Ofin and River Oda in the eastern parts of central in Ashanti, and River Brim in the eastern region, the Ministry of Defense, through the Ghana Armed Forces, launched the fourth phase of the Operation Halt from Thursday the 27th to Saturday the 29th of May 2021, with troops totaling 420 all ranks. The number we reduced the number slightly from the original 500 to 420 all ranks. The troops were simultaneously deployed from 1st Infantry Battalion, 2nd Infantry Battalion, 5th Infantry Battalion, 64th Infantry Regiment, 153 Armored Regiment, Air Force, and of course, Support Services Brigade of the Ghana Armed Forces. And the objective was very clear: enforcing the 100-meter astride the rivers of Ankobra and Bonsa in the western region. So this time the operation was carried out in the western region. So from central to Ashanti to eastern, and now down western region. The riverine teams from the Ghana Navy and 48 Engineering also conducted operations on the rivers themselves to support, with the support of Ghana Air Force. But the participating troops were the Ghana Air Force contributed 320 all ranks, Ghana Navy contributed 40 all ranks, and the Ghana Air Force contributed 60 all ranks, bringing the total to 420. As I already said, the operational areas were the rivers Ankobra from Axim, you all know, in the western region, to Anyinase, Jura Bonsa through Pristia to Bogoso, Hiawa to Takwa to Briman, and Wasa Akropong. So the river Ankobra, these were the areas that they covered. And for River Bonsa, they covered from Bonsa through Takwa, Achimpim, Insusu, Bonsa number 1 to Takwa, Isusu, Asankra to Esukuma, Bensu. These were the areas that they covered under River Bonso. Ladies and gentlemen, during the operations, a total of 592 assorted items were destroyed. 592 assorted items were destroyed. You can see fire burning some of the items. Whilst 3 Chinese nationals and their 2 Ghanaian drivers were arrested. So in this case, 5 persons have been arrested. 3 Chinese nationals and 2 Ghanaian counterparts. The breakdown of the items that were destroyed are as follows. Excavators, 24. Shamfai machines and platforms, 341. Water pumping machines, 123. Wooden accommodations to structure, 30. OMB, 10. Gensets, 4. The gensets, were 6. Grinding machines, 4. So these grinding machines, they used to crush the rocks. Huge grinding machines that they used to crush the rocks and wash these rocks into the water through drawing water from the rivers and washing them there. It's very dangerous. And this is the one that they use a lot of mercury and they use a lot of cyanide to wash. Because when you grind, you have to use that to wash the rocks to extract. Motorbikes, 6 were burnt or destroyed. Water hose, 14. Barrel of fuel, 30. For ropes and mats, there were 2 many to count. Welding and dredging machines, 4. So the excavators, 24. Shamfai machines, 341. Pumping machines, 123. Wooden structures, 30. OMB, 10. Gensets, 6. Grinding machines, 4. Motorbikes, 6. Water hose, 14. Barrels of fuel, 30. That they used in helping them to even burn more things. Ropes, so many. Welding and dredging, 4. A few observations that we realized in the operations within the Western region. We realized that although a considerable number of excavators were also found and destroyed, but it was observed, and you can see the Shamfais being destroyed, it was observed that some illegal miners had moved their mining equipment, particularly excavators, to just nearby communities. So you are passing and you can see huge excavators standing in communities. But they've moved them out of the 100-meter zone. But you can see that this is a little community, and then you have 10, 20 excavators standing there. You know that they were using it to do illegal things. But because it's not within the 100 meters, you cannot destroy them. So the armed forces will pass and move on. We need to take a decision about some of these things as a government and as a people. So like I said, that some illegal miners had moved their mining equipment, particularly excavators, to nearby communities that were out of the speculated 100-meter limit of operational activity for major river bodies. For instance, there's a community called Esua. Troops chanced upon 11 excavators that have been moved 2 kilometers away from the illegal mining site along the river Ankobra, with the possibility, of course, of illegal miners redeploying the equipment at an opportune time. So that's what happened. You go and see these excavators standing there. They had just moved them. You could clearly see that they had destroyed the river bodies. But what they did is to move them off from there. We will take a decision on this equipment. We will take a decision very, very soon on them, because we know they will want to go back. But because we set 100 meters, they have decided that, okay, we're going to move them to 2 kilometers away, 1 kilometer away. But we will take a decision on them very, very soon. Like I said, it's in their interest not to go back. But if you decide to park your excavators there and they have no use, we will take a decision on them as a government. Also, there was, just like in the eastern region, rugged terrain and nature of the land with huge duckouts that were created, made huge trenches, made it considerably difficult to maneuver. The reaction of the local people, and let me thank sincerely the people in the western region, and generally the people along the water borders, they've been very cooperative. Without them, the success rate of the soldiers would have not been as high as we see today. So I want to really thank them. The people are against what is happening, and they have been very, very supportive of the work of the armed forces. So like I said, that the local inhabitants, the attitude or reaction of the local inhabitants towards the operation is largely very positive. Locals openly condemned the practice and supported the destruction of equipment. And in some instances, the locals urged the troops to burn equipment that were moved out of the red zone. But of course, the armed forces would always decline. But they were urging them that, look, this one was working here about 5 days ago. Go and burn it. This one was working here 2 days ago. They've just packed it here. They'll go and show them, this is where they are working. Go and burn it. That is what the locals themselves, because they know that these equipments are destroying their livelihoods. And they form gangs preventing the locals from acting and welding guns, so the locals are afraid. So once the troops entered there, the locals will tell you that, look, they've hidden the equipment here, they've hidden the equipment here, this is where it is. It was working here. Go and burn it. We don't want the equipment back on our land. But of course, once the armed forces were given strict instructions to deal with the 100 meters astrides of the river bodies, we dealt with it. But like I said, the government will take a decision on people who think that they can move the equipment just away to escape what is currently happening and bring them back. It will not be in their interest to do that, because they will find out that the government is not moving, or the armed forces are not moving away from these river bodies anytime soon. So if they keep them there, well, it is to their own detriment. But last but not least, that most of the locals we suspect and we see as we interact with them, the armed forces, that they do not really appreciate the dangers associated with the irresponsible mining. And the Air Force area reconnaissance revealed that there is serious destruction in the forest as well, and then the non-forest areas in the Galamsey infested communities, with leaving virtually no land for other activities like farming. And so it's a big, big problem. And these are areas that produce a lot of cocoa for us, and if people destroy this equipment, destroy this, leave huge gullies, and the people don't have a place to farm, that we're in big, big trouble as a country. Of course, as I said before, some illegal miners have decided to be mining in the night. We have evidence to it. I just showed some of the evidence to him, and we have a lot of evidence at that. And I told them it will not be in their interest to continue. But it looks like some in the Takwa area and a few areas have decided that they will not listen. They want to mine the area. If we have intelligence on you, we can even take videos and still pictures of you doing the work, then you should know that you are not safe at all. Don't simply go back and do anything like that. We as I said, we've made our position very clear. The armed forces who are operating on the ground have made their position very clear that we should review the law and allow the allowable distance to increase from the 100 meters beyond the 100 meters, especially to be able to preserve our water bodies, because they've realized that a lot of the activities that actually pollute the water as well are done outside the 100 meters. But then they cause huge pollution within the river bodies, because they degrade these lands 1 kilometer away, 2 kilometers away, and when it rains, the waters are sipped back into the river bodies. Like I said before, rivers are normally lowland, and the highlands are the banks. So when you do anything 1 kilometer away and it rains, all the bad water just pours back into the river, and you might not see the clear water as we are. But of course, clearly the water bodies are improving, but the river will take a lot of time to heal itself. So the armed forces will begin to operate in the areas they have done to see what they can do to help the river quickly regenerate. But the rivers will take some bit of time. But like I said, the impact of the Operation Vanguard has been very substantial, as several excavators and other mining equipment were immobilized within the red zones. The Ankobra River, as well as the Bonso rivers, a lot of the areas that the armed forces have operated have been saved. And we hope that those illegal miners who have abandoned their mining sites will not come back. But we'll ensure that they don't come back. So, Honorable Minister, I want to thank you very much always for the opportunity that you give the armed forces to be able to brief the nation. But just to say that there are several Galamsey pits scattered along the river Ankobra and Bonsa. Huge gullies, things like this. That's what you see always. And this is a Shamfanmanship being destroyed by the armed forces. And you have hundreds and hundreds of them scattered along the river bodies. And if you have a river and the water is like this now, you can imagine how you will be able to treat this for people to drink. It's impossible to just drink direct from the river bodies any longer. But these are water bodies that our people they used to drink. But today it's not possible. We hope to continue to get the support of the people of Ghana to do what we are going to do. We will not allow people to benefit from illegality. The law is very clear on that, and he's a lawyer. He will tell you. The law will not allow you to benefit from illegality. Government will not allow people to benefit from illegality. Government will continue to pursue people until such a time that we have clean water bodies. It doesn't happen in our neighboring countries, and we should not allow it to happen, not in Ghana. We are people who are hardworking, and government will support hardworking people. But when you decide that you alone will destroy the environment, our water bodies, our forest reserves, destroy our land, because you want to make money, government will not sit down to allow that to happen. Honorable Minister, thank you very much.
Honorable Minister, very grateful for the brief that you have just shared with us on the fourth wave of Operation Halt 2. Honorable Minister will resume his seat. He will respond to your questions later. I want to share with you a quick brief from the Office of the Attorney General on prosecutions. But before then, as we go along this journey, one of the things we'll need to do at some point will be to reclaim the land and to get on a tree planting exercise in many places that have been destroyed. The ministry responsible for lands and natural resources is already commencing some exercises in that area. Later this month, we're going to have some time or a day dedicated to tree planting across the country. There's a message from the President I want to share with you, and then I'll share with you the brief on prosecutions. Coming days, we'll share with you some more information on this, and we'll request of you to please do us the honor of letting your various audiences also follow this information and join in this national tree planting exercise. I want to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Kofi Amankwah-Menu, Member of Parliament for Etwima Kwanwoma and a Deputy Minister Designate for Defense, and the Honorable Fatih Abubakar, Deputy Minister Designate for Information. Now, I have well, there are not 5 briefs. There's one brief, but it's in 5 parts on prosecutions. And this is not the exhaustive list of prosecutions. This is what I have currently. As we go along during subsequent briefs, I'll share with you the ones that I have. The first is the Republic versus George Asante and 31 others. These are the persons who initially, the reports that came out, where that some national security people have been arrested doing mining elsewhere. It turns out they are not national security persons. The accused persons on the 11th of May 2021 were arraigned before the Koforidua Circuit Court B on provisional charges, namely 2 counts of conspiracy to commit crime, that's reconnaissance for minerals and reconnaissance for minerals without lawful authority. The accused persons were arrested by the town folk themselves, as you remember. They had dug deep, hundreds of meters into the ground, and they were actually conducting some mining activities there without lawful authority. They were remanded into police custody for further investigations. The case has been adjourned to the 8th of June 2021, with the accused persons still in custody. In the meantime, the CID has taken over the investigations. They visited the crime scene at Akinting. Sand and some substances suspected to be gold were found and seized. The substances have been sent to the PMMC for testing, and the other state investigative authorities are assisting them while the prosecution ongoes. So that is the case of George Asante and 31 others, the Republic versus George Asante and 31 others. The Chinese names, I'm not very good at them, so you would pardon me if I murder those names. There's the Republic versus Yang Maoji. Arrest was made on the 15th of May by the Operation Halt team. Investigations are also ongoing to locate some suspected accomplices, Yang Kesi and one Nana Fianco, and prosecutions will be in accordance. There's a Republic versus Wei Ganming and another. This case involves a Chinese national arrested from Atioku in the Menfi West near Takwa. The 2 Chinese nationals were arraigned before an Accra Circuit Court for the offense of mining without authority or without license. They've been remanded to appear on the 2nd of June 2021. I think that's today. So they'll be appearing in court today after initially being remanded. The matter has been assigned to the CID. Bail has initially been denied the accused persons, and further investigations continue, and prosecution will also continue in accordance. There's also the Republic versus Yang Hua and 2 others. In this case, 2 Chinese nationals and a Ghanaian who were illegally mining were arrested from Inchi in the western region. They were arraigned before the Circuit Court in Accra on the 12th of May 2021 for the offense of mining without license. They have been remanded to reappear on the 31st of May 2021. So I'm sure they would have appeared by now. That would have been about 2 days ago. So we need to get a quick update on that one. The case has been assigned to the CID. Prosecution is also in accordance. Then there's the Republic versus Hui Linghua and 5 others. I think this is the Asankregwa case. If you followed, that raid was conducted by the national security apparatus, and Hui Linghua and 5 others were arrested and are before the authorities on suspicion of having been involved in various offenses, including running a casino, trading in gold without authorization, etc. The accused persons have been remanded in police custody for further investigations. They were supposed to appear in court yesterday. The CID is now handling the case. I think there are some of the photos of some of the exhibits that were gathered. So to answer one of the previous questions about what is happening to prosecution, prosecution is underway in different courts. Some of them have been moved to Accra. And as we go along, we'll do our very best to update you on the prosecution and hopefully the conviction of some of these persons for the crimes that they have committed. Colleagues, that will bring us to the end of our brief. It's a good time to take your questions now. You give me a wave, I send the microphone to you. And we have to do this and wrap up as quickly as possible. I see Ghanaian Times, I see Ghana News Agency, I see Multimedia. So let me start with those 3. Ghanaian Times.
Thank you. Following the president's call for people who think the burning of excavators were illegal to go to court, the president of the concerned Small-Scale Miners Association was on air alleging that the destruction of the excavators belonged to Ghanaians who had been targeted, and that even as the operations continued, there were some foreign nationals in red zones continuing with their activities, with the military turning a blind eye.
Did he provide any specifics so that we can follow up on these specifics?
I think he did, but I've forgotten. But then I would want to find out if it's possible.
It would be good to have those specifics so that we can all examine those specifics. In the absence of those specifics, then it's just like anybody has said.
That is my question.
Yeah.
But will the minister consider inviting the president of the Concerned Miners Association to lead the team to the so-called mining activities?
That is a fair question, but I want to encourage you, our colleagues in the media, when somebody comes on your platforms and says something like this, don't let him just get away with it. Ask those persons to provide you as a first step with some of those specifics so that we can all begin to even engage some of these. Else you have people who sometimes just throw things in the air just to undermine the efforts that are ongoing. So it will be good if you put some of these people to strict proof as at the time they are raising some of these allegations. Then we can all follow some of these specifics. But I'll let Minister comment on it later. GNA?
Yeah, thank you. I have 3 questions. The first one is on...
GNA, you always have a lot of questions. We have to start putting a quota to your questions. Go ahead.
Asankregwa arrests.
Yeah.
And the national security allegedly assaulted people. Apart from the Chinese, they went to town intimidating people and assaulting people. I want government clarification on this.
Who is saying this?
I've heard one MP in that area making that allegations.
And so he's filed a question?
Yes, a question, even in Parliament.
He has filed a question in Parliament?
Yes.
Of the minister to
answer regarding the assault of... And I learned you have sent a petition to IGP as well.
Okay.
And so I want government clarification on this issue.
Well, if you sent a petition to the IGP will have to investigate that and then determine it. Government cannot preempt that with a comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my second question is...
and then if he has a question in Parliament, there are processes for providing answers to those questions in Parliament. Proceed.
Okay. My second question is regarding the pulling of excavators outside the 100 meters radius. And the minister said very soon they will take a decision on this. If we can provide timelines so that when they fail in that specific manner, we can question.
How soon is his soon?
Yeah, and so timeline so that we can target.
Minister, how soon is your soon? We'll come to you for
so
it.
You have to give us timeline. So
and then your third one.
And my third question is how expeditious as government or the Attorney General are going to prosecute these issues? Because there has been instances where cases of that nature will go and it will prolong for a very long time. And so if there are specific courts that have been designated to prosecute these issues so that they can expeditiously dealt with, I think it will be very good. Thank you.
Okay. I would give a response to that question of expedition in the courts later. Yes, sir. Is that Kweku? Yes. Kweku, go ahead. Your mask is making you difficult to identify.
Right. So my question is on the items that have been destroyed.
Yeah.
I realized that there was no update given, if any, on gold that may have been seized from the forest. I realized that in the first phase of the operation also, when the update was given on the kind of things that had been destroyed, there were no mention of if gold and other such minerals had been seized from the forest and what had become of them.
Okay. I'll let Minister give a response to that. Are there others? Colleagues, are there others? Nana? Nana, you are with Searchlight, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's hear you.
Honorable Minister, there was a debate on airways, I think yesterday, where people were not happy why the Armed Forces or the Minister of Defense comes out to give a date of operation, such that when people, those who are doing it, when they hear it, then they prepare. That is the reason why they move the machines away from the red zones. So you come and see nobody there. Why don't you surprise them? Because I don't know if you do that, you get more people done, giving announcement prior to your operations. And then my second question, just to support what this man is saying, can't you set up, say, a judicial system, maybe a court or tribunal, to try these people so that the trial is so rapid and expected? Because trials in this country are very, very long, very cumbersome, very tedious, and so you get people coming in to support them and that kind of thing. And then my third question, people are saying that, I've heard, at least let me be specific here, I heard Commander Bonfe and Kosipa saying that burning authenticated is illegal, and therefore government not stop it. When you hear some of these things, Mr. Minister, does it discourage you? And what can you try to, because this is a national crisis that we need to fight with all fronts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, madam. We'll take you and then we'll provide responses and come for a final wave. Let's go.
My name is Nancy Vokania from TV3. I would like to know if the excavators that were burnt, or the companies or individuals whose excavators were burnt, are we prosecuting them or are we just leaving it at that? Is that enough punishment?
Is there any further action?
Is there any further action? Yeah, because we haven't heard anything.
Thank you, Nancy. I'll let Minister respond to that one. But let me deal with the issues of the courts. I think one of the questions was, or about three of them are tied to the courts. The first one about the president's comment that go to court, and some persons alleging that people have been targeted. I'll let Minister respond to the targeted part, but I'll deal with the go to court, and I'll tie it in with the other two questions on the courts about how expeditious can the prosecutions be made? And then the next question, I wrote down your words, can't we set up a tribunal or a court that would fast track some of these things? So let me deal with them. When the president says go to court, it is not as though he's saying that nothing else matters. If you don't understand, you go to court. No, I think there was a whole, in fact, if you follow the whole speech, there's a whole background that deals with a question of legality. Prior to now, you've heard some persons, sometimes lawyers, etc., make the argument that it is illegal to destroy the excavators as found on the water bodies or around the water bodies, and that government will be liable in the end. I think, indeed, from one of our very early briefings, one of our colleagues seated, he asked a question about judgment debt. And the president, throughout the speech, explains clearly our understanding of the law as is now. In the case, for example, of Exton Cubic versus the Attorney General, the High Court of Ghana, in a 69-page ruling, later affirmed by the Supreme Court, is quite clear that no rights accrue out of illegality. So if you are involved in illegality, you cannot come back to say that you have some accrued rights therein, and therefore some damages are owed you. We are very clear in our minds on the legal briefs that we have that there's no illegality in what the soldiers are doing. And the president proceeds to make the argument that if you disagree with this view, there is a place where you can express those views and a proper determination can be met or can be made on that matter. So it's not like nothing has happened and all we are saying is go to court, go to court, go to court. I just want to give that background to you. Now, the courts are not under the control of the executive. There are three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, the judiciary. The courts are not under the control of the executive. The executive cannot direct the courts, as it were, on how expeditious these matters ought to be. The executive can conduct its action, gather its evidence, and as I've outlined to you, arraign these persons before the courts. But the judicial system has a way of operating and adjourning and affording the accused persons all the rights and defenses that they may want to avail to themselves. So expedition does not lie in the hands of the executive. It will lie in the hands of the judiciary. And if there are those who want to make a call to the judiciary that perhaps a special court be set up by the judiciary, because the executive cannot set up special court like you're asking, it will be at the instance of the judiciary so to do, and then to expedite some of these cases, then it will be at that appropriate forum that we can make those calls. But let us also understand that, listen, in a democracy like we run, and in our system of law, even the accused persons are presumed innocent until proven guilty. The state will have to go to court and convince the court with the videos and the photos and the persons they arrested them there and what they were involved in, and convince the court beyond reasonable doubt that these persons are guilty of these specific offenses. And to do that, the court affords them the time and the liberty also to have their defenses. If you've never been accused before, then you have the view that we should set up some tribunals and rush people. But if you've been accused before, you want people to have their day in court, no matter how dastardly you think their crimes are, so that they can also have an opportunity to raise their defenses and be heard. And then the court can make a determination on it. They say the wheels of justice grind slowly sometimes, but they grind. So those would be my responses. The Honorable Minister, I want you to please join us. Have people been targeted? Are there timelines? How soon is your soon on maybe an adjustment to this 100 meters? Do you have any updates on any gold seized or substances suspected to be gold, if any? And is it true that you pre-announce that you are about to do a raid before it is done? Is that actually true? Or it's a misconception that some people may have? Minister, we're in your hands.
Thank you very much.
And then very finally, sorry, from TV3, do we intend to take any further action beyond burning the excavators?
Thank you very much. No individual is targeted. No individual or company or group of companies or a group of individuals are targeted in this exercise. Not at all. The armed forces have been given a task. They plan the execution themselves and they carry out the task. They sweep along the river bodies, 100 meters along the river bodies. And they sweep as long as sometimes 150 kilometers, sometimes 100 kilometers, maybe sometimes as short as 50 kilometers. Any machine they see, any equipment they see on the way, they immobilize it, they destroy it. It's as simple as that. They make sure that that machine never works again. So if your equipment is not found within that particular range, it's very difficult for the armed forces to act. The only exception is when they realize that an individual has piped water from the river bodies and is moved even a kilometer away. They will follow that hose, destroy the hose, and destroy the equipment as well. And they've done that in a couple of places. Other than that, the armed forces are strictly moving along the river bodies. If there's somebody who has any evidence, you are a Ghanaian, you have the duty to report that. And then the armed forces will take control and make sure they do their work. But no single individual is targeted. And nobody has been left off the hook. The places that the armed forces have operated, not a single company, a single machine, or a single equipment that is used for mining and is violating the law has been left off the hook. Not one. And we have challenged anybody to come and show us that you have operated this and left this particular equipment to be working and destroy this equipment. I challenge anybody to show us. Not one. Once the armed forces have operated any equipment, any mining equipment that has been within the way, they destroyed it. And the armed forces don't know who is owning that equipment or who owns that equipment. They don't know it. I don't even know the personnel who are there. I am the Minister for Defense, but I don't even know the members of the personnel who form the task force. And we've not used the same soldiers to do the same tasks. They get mixed from different places. So it's not a true story. But if the president of the Small Scale Miners Association believes that he can help the people of Ghana, we are willing to accept it and help us to get rid of it. All I will say is that the laws have been set, the red zones have been set. He and his team that he leads should help the people of Ghana and don't work within the red zones. It's as simple as that, and to help all of us. There would not have been the need for the armed forces to go if people were not working there, including companies and individuals. There's no need to send the soldiers. As for the allegation of assaulting people, obviously, once you claim that you have been assaulted in town or outside town, the IGP is bound to investigate it, and that's exactly what he's doing. So the IGP will come out a report, we'll all see what it is. We will not be able to preempt what the report will say. We're just waiting for the report to come out, and we'll know whether people were assaulted or people were not assaulted, and we'll know the reasons why some actions were taken. As for the pulling of excavators, it's very difficult to take action on those excavators immediately until a direction is given. And I use the word soon. Just as you are accusing us of giving timelines, we will not want to give timelines. What I can tell you is that we are going to take action very soon on those excavators. It's not just by the communities by the water, even within the area. The last time I told you that in counting within a day, we counted over 700 excavators within the Brim area, enclave. And so I can say that people pull these excavators and they are just standing there. You realize the last time the communities themselves were reporting some of these excavators that people were hiding in the bush, hoping that they will come back. But what I can assure them is that the armed forces are not leaving this very soon. There's a second wave of operation on the very areas that we have gone. So Praia River, for example, the armed forces will go back there again. There's a second wave of operation. So people should not think that this is a 9-day wonder where they will come back. It's not possible. They'll just go there to not help you. As for the prosecution, even in the Operation Vanguard time, the armed forces complained that one of the things that were hampering their efforts was prosecution. We hope that this time we'll have speedy prosecution, and I hope that the Chief Justice and the people will determine whether they are guilty or not guilty, and then we can move on. Like he said, you cannot, because if I find you committing a crime, I assume you are innocent. The courts will determine that. So once you've been put that before court, we hope that we can have early prosecution enough to be able to send a message to the people on that. Any seized item, any item that has been seized within the operations is what I have stated. I've been hearing people trying to force the armed forces to accept that they have seized things they have not seized. The armed forces have not seized any gold. If they seize any gold, they will declare it. It's not possible for 420 officers and men to hide anything they have seized. It's simply not possible. No officer of the armed forces, and let me repeat, no officer of the armed forces will risk his career and the life of his family, the livelihood of his family, because he wants to pick an ounce of gold and hide it. It's not possible. If they have seized gold, you will see it. I will state it. They haven't seized any gold. That's why I don't state it. If I have not told you that they have seized gold, it means they haven't seized. The day they will find a quantity of gold or even small pieces of gold and they seize it, I will state it. I will state it there. So we haven't seized anything like that. That's why I'm not giving you any update on that particular one. Of course, I think Kojo has already mentioned the issue of whether it's legal to burn excavators or not to burn excavators. That has been very, very clear. Some countries are burning ships. Some countries are burning boats. Indonesia is busily burning boats. It all depends on the laws of those countries. Our law is very, very clear. And he has stated the basis upon which we think that we should help rid of this illegality using the method we are doing. And for prosecuting individuals and companies, we have already, there are arrests of individuals who were caught in the web, and then there are some too who the state is trying to find out who they are and trying to investigate and locate them. When they are investigated and located, they will be arrested. And so any individual that the state is able to pin a machine on and be able to identify this is the owner, will investigate and make sure that those people are arrested. But 105 excavators so far have been destroyed. 105 excavators so far have been destroyed. What is it that these people are finding that they cannot get out of the place? They must be making a huge fortune, because I cannot understand. I did not believe that the armed forces will find a single excavator within the river bodies in Western region. I didn't believe. I thought that. Yes. 3 other weeks. I didn't believe. So what is it that is in that mining that they cannot leave? You are allowing equipment worth over $100,000 to be destroyed. Well, what is it that you can leave? And in the night you go back because you want to go and mine? What are you finding? I cannot understand. I remember during the NDC days, you remember in the early part of Mahama regime, over 100 excavators were destroyed. Over 100 excavators were destroyed at that time when they launched those operations at that time. In fact, even the excavators, the 105 we have destroyed, what they destroyed then, destroyed then, are more than what so far we have done. So sometimes I find it difficult why some of the ministers who presided over those burning at that time, thinking they were right, and I'm criticizing government now. I hope it's not politics. But what I'm just saying is that it is not worth it to get your machine burnt. You know, we have not announced dates and time of operations, never. We only say that there will be an operation. As I've just stated, that there will be continuous operations. But we have not really announced to people that we are coming to River Ankobra on this day at this time. We don't do that. But what I want to say to you is that we give people the opportunity to move away, because the armed forces and the government is not interested in burning your equipment. That's not our interest. Our interest is to get you to move off the place and do the right thing. So if people can move, if we can tell people that we are doing an operation and they can move, we'll be very, very happy. We are not interested in burning equipment. That's not our primary focus. Our primary focus as a state is to ensure that people do not destroy our water bodies. But so far we have not. It's not a true story that we have gone to announce to anybody that on this day we are coming. On the 27th, which was the last Thursday, we never announced to anybody that we're going to Western region. But we did announce here that there will be a 4th operation. And of course, there will be a 5th operation. But where, when, and how, I have not stated it. All I've said is that there will be a 5th operation. So people who are operating 100 meters within the river bodies, not just river bodies, streams. The law is river bodies, streams, and water bodies. If you are operating in any of these areas, streams, water bodies and river bodies, move away, and in the forest reserves. Like I said, there will be a 5th operation, there will be a 6th operation, and 7th operation. So people should not go to these areas. It's as simple as that. If we do this and people pack off, we are very happy. Because like I said, our aim is not to burn anybody's equipment. No, we just want to ensure that we preserve the forest reserves that we have. We want to ensure that we preserve our water bodies that we have. Just look at this picture. This is a river that has been destroyed like this. This is not what our forefathers left us. This is not what our forefathers left us. If they did this, you and me by now would have died of thirst, or would have been importing water from, what do you call it? Is it Abuchiri? Abroad. By now we will not have water to drink. Because in Ghana, virtually everywhere there's gold. There's gold in Upper East, there's gold in Upper West, there's gold virtually everywhere in Ghana. You can find pure gold virtually any part of Ghana. If our forefathers were to be doing what we are doing because they want to get rich, by now we will not even find a single tree standing in Ghana today. And that's not what we want.
Is there any further action beyond burning some of the excavators?
Like I said, burning the excavators is just the first part of it.
But we intend to find the people.
Like I said to you, we are finding the people involved. You just stated that some 2 people are being located. We are finding the people involved, and we are investigating the background of the people involved, who the excavators are for, using chassis numbers. We are going to investigate all this, and anybody found guilty will be punished. We will punish every person found guilty. If you have an excavator, don't lend it out to anybody. to take it to the forest reserve. It's as simple as that. Thank you very much.
We are almost at the end. If there are just about 2 more, we'll take them, and then we'll wrap up. We're at the very tail end. Okay, so we are done with our questions. GNA, I'll give you 1, and Searchlight, I'll give you 1 very quickly, and then we'll wrap up.
Yes, Honorable, I've been thinking, in the past, when these Chinese are arrested, they are repatriated, and I can cite that
there was one person who was deported.
Okay, let's say
create an impression that was the general rule.
Yes,
there's a specific case in which it happened.
Yes,
yeah.
Aisha Huang was repatriated. So I was thinking whether government has changed its policy on this issue. That now, when you are Chinese or any foreigner,
the policy of government is that persons arrested should be prosecuted.
And when they are prosecuted, would they serve their sentence in Ghana?
Persons who are convicted by the courts in Ghana serve their sentences in Ghana unless there is an alternate arrangement for whether prisoner exchange or something.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Searchlight, very final one, and then let's wrap up.
Just addendum to what you just said. We know that...
The two of you are conspiring, eh?
No. We know that these Chinese people come in through some Ghanaians in this country. I learned it's a cartel, you know, who normally contract these people into this country. And I wonder why they're able to come here on notice, or they come here and then they use some excuses and do some things that you're doing here. Why can't you, as it were, uproot that very source that brings these foreign nationals in so that we can have a solution? Because they keep on coming. Now, I don't know how they want to come.
It is not a crime to invite a foreign national to do legitimate business.
Yes, but
Ghana.
Honorable,
I'm coming.
They come here with some pretext that we are coming for holiday.
I'm coming. It is not a crime to invite a foreign national to come and do legitimate business. If you are found as having conspired with a foreign national to conduct illegality, it will be treated as a specific matter.
So what do you draw the line? Because the Chinese ambassador said that it is not easy for a Ghanaian or any African national to go to China and do what they are doing here. But they come here, and I don't know how they manage to get their way through the forest and do their own thing. So I'm saying that we should tackle the source of these things, because they can only come and pretend. Thank you very much.
If there's a remark you would like to make, please do.
First of all, I don't want this illegal, the fight against illegal mining to be the issue of China. And no, not at all. There are many more foreign nationals than Chinese. I mean, a lot of ECOWAS nationals are far more than the Chinese who are involved in it. And nobody invites anybody to come and do illegal mining. If you are here and you are committing crime, whether it's illegal mining or armed robbery, you'll be arrested and prosecuted. That's what government is assuring the people of Ghana. If somebody is coming, if you are traveling to the United States and you have a working permit, you are allowed to go there and do that. If you are going to China, you have a working permit, you are allowed to go there. But when you take that working permit to commit a crime, they will prosecute you and jail you. That's what we are doing here. But more specifically, I want to state that we who are engaging in this fight mean right and mean well for the people of Ghana. Tomorrow, if I am not where I am, I expect that whoever takes over for me will do the same to protect our heritage. Full stop. It's not about the individual standing here. It's about ensuring that we do the right thing. So that's all that we keep saying, that we should try to do the right thing for the good of ourselves and our children and our children's children. How many times can we be in this world to enjoy all the mansions that you want to build? Nothing. But the devastation that you will leave for your children, it will take generations to be able to get it, to get what you are enjoying today, the fresh air, the green vegetables, the tomatoes, and that kind of stuff. So what we are saying is that do not let us fight amongst ourselves because somebody wants to get some bit of gold and sell and get money. That's all.
Thank you. We have only 5 minutes. Bloomberg, quickly.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Honorable, reports have shown that children born in these areas are beginning to develop something that used to be rare, that is childhood cancer and what have you, and many health complications. How do you intend to sustain what you're doing beyond your thematic time? You said like 5 phases and what have you, such that whoever comes after you, be it in this government or a subsequent one, would sustain this One, there's also research that shown that even foodstuffs that are coming from these areas are contaminated. So then it goes to then strengthen my question: how do you sustain this over the long period?
So, Minister, is there a sustainability plan? We don't have much time. Very final question.
Let me say to you.
Let me take that one, and then we can wrap it up. Yes, sir. Very quickly.
Okay. Good morning, Honorable.
Yeah.
Kingdom FM. The question is, free 2008 about Operation Vanguard for the almost CZ excavators.
2008, not Operation Vanguard anymore.
Sorry, 2018.
18. Okay.
Sorry. It's I'm say BC between Medina and Adenta Aviation Park. Last week, Kingdom FM ya kohoko check kakra ba yeko say still na excavators to go ho in wura bebre aba ho. Se person find out from minister.
Lance Minister ba last time or answer question or say current operation aye eno enka ho emrepomu no obeka eno ho asem eno nka de aye ka ho asem yi ho.
Okay, Mbasho.
That's it. But as Minister, so please deal with the first question.
So first of all, I think that you answered this question the last time to say that we want to get real empirical evidence to link the mining to kids who are born with deformities. I want the scientists to really link that. It's too far-fetched to say that food is contaminated to that extent. You know, some even say cocoa, some say this. It's far-fetched. We want to hold on a little bit with that assertion. But what we are saying is that the implications going forward will be huge for us if we don't do something about it. So sustainability, I can assure you, we are going to sustain it. That's why I told you that you see this picture, look at this picture very well. There's no way you can leave this river as it is. You have to clean it up, and the armed forces will go and help us clean it up. All we are saying is that the chiefs in the area, the opinion leader, the Odikros in the area should assist government. If we have chiefs insisting that they will not allow charcoal to pass through their land, and it's not even difficult for people to cut charcoal on their land, why can't other chiefs make the same pass the same laws and regulations to assess what government is doing, and hold chiefs responsible, or decros and chiefs are responsible on their land if they allow illegal mining to take place on their lands? Can you imagine that if the Western House of Chiefs, the Ashanti Regional House of Chiefs, the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs were to come and say, look, any chief who allows illegal mining on water bodies and forests on his land will be destitute? Can you imagine the impact that it will make on the fight against illegal mining? So, as for the sustainability, it's a collective sustainability that we should all engage. And I want to urge you, the media, to also help us. You're already doing it, but I want to continue to allow you to help us so that we can continue to do that. People will try to throw webs into what we are doing, as I stated. But I can tell you that we are determined. And I hope that people who will carry on from us will do same as we are doing. It's not personal. We are doing what we believe is right for the people of Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The Honorable Minister responsible for Defense. Thank you so much, the Ghana Armed Forces. Thank you to the Deputy Ministers Designate who are here with us. Colleagues in the media, thank you. 2 quick notes I want to share with you as you wrap up. Please know that it's like this. There will be people who seek to undermine the good that is ongoing. And they will come with all sorts of allegations and theories. We beg you to take some time to interrogate, just like how you interrogate the claims and the suggestions that they make. And you'll find out for yourself what the truth is. Secondly, we've received complaints from some media houses that we don't invite them to our press briefings. I just want to, through you, get the word out there. We don't issue specific invitations to media houses for our press briefings.